And then you talk to him, and it's almost like a guy that does cigarette commercials in the 50s, like, "Hi, how are you? Good to see you too." And he's almost a guy where regular cyclical conversation, small talk, I should say, is completely lost on him. He's from another time. He's a special, beautiful boy. Where if you say to him, like, "Hey, man, what's up?" He looks at you completely confused, like, "What's up?" He'll just repeat it back to you, like there's so many ways I could take that.
So the whoa shit is real. Like that
it's real, but it's not from a place of being stupid. It's like if you were tripping your balls off.
He's just tripping
and
all
somebody
the time.
said, "What's up?" You would think, does he mean how am I? Does he mean literally like look above my head? Like what's the stock market? Money. Wow. Like you're thinking about how ridiculous paper money is. The sky's up, but what's in the sky? So you just wind up going, whoa, whoa.
Just by the heaviness of reality. Yeah, yeah.
And one day I was walking by his trailer and he's having steak at lunchtime. And I'm always like, just buffalo my way into any situation. I'm not going to respect his privacy. The door's open to his trailer.
Yeah, so fuck it, come on in.
So I step up, I go, "What do you got, man?" He goes, "I decided to have steak for lunch." And I go, "Oh," but it was just such a strange thing because we haven't said like, "Hi, where are you from? How's this?" Like I find out later he's got a sister in some weird article or whatever. And I go, "What do you got? Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "I decided to go with steak for lunch." And I go, "Oh." And I just take another step all the way. And now I'm in Keanu's trailer. No decorations, just a motorcycle helmet on a chair. And a guy eating a steak, just a steak on a paper plate, like a dad in like 1952. And I go, why? "Long day today, man. Decided to get my blood up." And I go, "Oh." And I'm thinking like he's going to make a joke. And he makes a motion with his hand like he's pushing up toward the sky. And he goes, "Gotta get the blood up. Gotta get the blood up, man. It's good for the blood to get the blood up." And I'm like, all right. And I felt like Woody Allen talking to Christopher Walken and Annie Hall, like, "That's great, Dwayne, but if you'll excuse me, I think I'm due back on planet Earth, just sort of getting my blood up is not really my thing. I'd like to keep my blood as down as possible, sort of sedate the blood, So we're doing that movie, and we're chasing Crips and Bloods. Again, Matt holding in all of his laughs. Just leaving me out here to die on the vine.
I don't want to fucking drown out the mic with my shrieks, man.
Yeah, you don't want people listening to think you're having a good time.
To know that I'm having a good time. Yeah.
So hold that in.
He keeps me in bondage here.
Give me a nice quiet place to rehearse. So I did that movie, and I was taking this stuff called Celtac and something else, which was basically like creatine, but like 20 times creatine, which it adds weight to your frame. But it's no longer the stuff I was taking is no longer on the market. You can't get it at GNC because it turns out it was a steroid precursor and the other thing was just an actual steroid. When I tell you I got big, I don't mean gradually I got big. I mean literally I was laying in bed one night and my wife went, "Oh my God." I got big sort of like within 20 minutes. Like I worked out for like a month and a half and just every day checking the mirror. And then one day, I was just laying in bed, and I just went, boop, 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 and I just got big.
You were fucking Tom Hanks at the Zartan machine or whatever. Like, it just happened like that?
It's inexplicable. And I went, and I looked in the mirror, and, like, my neck was huge, my shoulders were huge. An inch just went poof. And, like, I didn't feel any different, but I knew I was strong as an ox. So we do the movie, and me and Keanu have like this crazy like Peter Griffin versus the chicken fight scene that goes on for all day. And the stunt guys are like, "We've been rehearsing this for a week. You and Keanu roll up the roof, and then he's going to pull you off the fence." And we're both in. He's Neo. He's in Matrix shape at least, and he's done this
pre-Matrix shape even, which was probably right. What year was it?
No, mid Matrix.
Okay.
So he's done this before.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm in just roided out shape. And I'll tell you how crazy I was. I was in a funeral. I was at a funeral
That's how roided out
East
you were.
St. Louis. Yeah, I was so roided
out.
out.
And came back.
I was just laying in a casket going, not for me.
Can't handle nothing. I won't abide this shit. Yeah.
Man. So I'm in steak and shake.
I need to get my fucking blood up. Yeah.
I got to get my blood up.
There's steaks in this casket.
No, I'll go get my own stuff. I thought I saw a craft service truck on my way to the funeral home. I went to a funeral in St. Louis, and the family sent me out to Steak and Shake in East St. Louis, and it was in the hood. And usually when you're the only white guy in the hood, you're like, all right, let me just get my stuff and get the hell out of here. I don't want any trouble. And this is like a Saturday night in the hood. I was at Steak and Shake in line, and the line was long because people were arguing, and I'm looking into booths like And I'm shaking my head no, like, oh God, just look at you. And I'm nodding my head no, like I'm disappointed with the 6 guys in the booth. Like that's how crazy I was. I'm literally
You're picking a fight?
Not picking a fight, just look. I think, and I had the big cop mustache, so I think they really did think I was a cop. They recognized me, maybe from TV, but then maybe maybe I picked them up like a year ago, and I'm literally like in line, just looking at people like, it's your turn, asshole, you want to keep it moving? I'm not saying, I didn't speak, which for me is really rare. You know I was on something. And I'm looking into booths, just shaking my head no, like, just look at them. And they're looking at me and putting their heads down like, uh-oh. That guy's going to get us. Yeah. Like, I was crazy.
There's a giant white guy with a mustache. That's never a good sign. Right?
Never. And what is he doing at a Steak and Shake in East St. Louis? It's Saturday, and he's picking up, like, a meal for 30, which is probably the rest of the precinct. And I was wearing my phone on my belt, so under a jacket it would look like a pistol. Like, I was totally into it. So, because I've never been that big and strong and angry before. So the movie wraps, and me and Keanu are done fighting, and it's hard to wrestle and fight Keanu without getting a boner. I did my best. But if you watch the DVD of Street Kings, we're out on the front lawn. He puts my arm behind my back and rolls me over to snap my arm. You can tell I'm sporting wood because Neo's on my back.
Freeze frame, folks. There you go. The magic of fucking Blu-ray.
So then I go back to
Ghost. That's going to be all over the internet by like the next week. It's just it's going to be a meme. Instead of sad Keanu, it's happy Keanu because you're sporting fucking wood or whatever.
I hope so. If they could find a shot of me with wood in that movie, it'd be great.
Screen grab it, put it up there.
I got half wood.
Hashtag more stories.
In a movie called Speaking of Sex, I had an underwear scene where I had to have an argument with Melora Walters in my underwear. And I remember I was obsessed with not looking inadequate. And plus I was drinking NyQuil then. And that's not good for your girth. So before every take, I was pinching my helmet. They'd be like, action. So by like take 11, I'm just like a full.
You went too far?
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like trying to will it back. And I'm picturing like the director coming over and getting into bed with me. John McNaughton, who directed Wild Things.
To talk it down or whatever.
Yeah, and then I get out and I'm like, oh my God, I look like an idiot. What's with the banana?
That's fucking great.
So Street Kings ends, and I go back to Ghost Whisperer. And Ghost Whisperer, it's a much more laconic pace. There's no fight scenes. Jennifer Love Hewitt is talking to ghosts. Her and Cameron Manheim own an antique store. Her husband comes in when he's not working at the hospital, and I come in, I play a professor. Translation, you sit in a trailer all day, and you eat donuts. And they're not going to get to you for a while. They call you in early because you're way down on the totem pole.
They didn't ask you to roid out for your Ghost Whisperer role?
No. And I remember on Ghost Whisperer, I was there about a month after the movie, and they had to redo a shot because my gut was blocking her face. She was sitting at my desk, and I was like leaning over my desk with my palms down on the desk, like explaining something to her in a book. And they're like, all right, back the camera up then. And then the producer, Ian, says, your gut's really loud. Your gut is in the way. Like thinking he could shame me into exercising. But I was like, no, I just got done exercising, man. I'm built like a brick shithouse. I'm in the best shape of my life.
Yeah, you better move your fucking camera because his gut's staying.
Yeah, the gut's staying. And then plus I had Ed Burns tell me, just get your arms big. So now I got big arms and a gut and boobs, and I sweat too much, and my pulse was 180 when I was done with my run. And I'm passing little kid camps, and there's like 6, 7-year-old kids, and they are sprinting like just happy idiots. They're carrying weights. They're carrying like jugs of water and like running back and forth.
They're like fucking Gurkhas.
It never dawns on them like, wow, I'm really tired. Like I've been sprinting back and forth in this like knee-high sand, and I'm just on a regular jog with my new perfect shoes, ready to go, hoofing it. But I'm back now. But I did lose 10 pounds. I'm down to 198. So I guess that's actually 13 pounds, 14 pounds. So I'm going to get down a little more. So I went for a great jog today. Beautiful day in Southern California. Went to Starbucks after my jog because why not finish up running in 80-degree heat with a venti coffee? The people at Starbucks used to be sort of asshole hipsters, and you may think they still are. But I have to tell you, they're not. They're actually the coolest people alive.
I was a barista, sir, back in the day.
And you're one of the coolest guys I've ever seen.
Yeah. I started the trend.
They got giant, like, Babinji African plates in their lip. The kid's got an earring where I can see people. He's got that, what do you call the earring where it stretches your earlobe out?
I have no, like the fucking giant plate thing.
It's a plate with a hole in the middle where I can actually see the barista behind him making a drink.
He puts his recommendations of the day on that earring, and you
Sure.
look through the whole. Yeah.
And here's the thing with baristas at Starbucks. Starbucks, when you talk about a business where the trains run on time, no matter how long the line is at Starbucks, you don't wait more than 65 seconds. They get that shit rolling like they're making fucking automobiles in Detroit in the 60s. You get in line, and the line's out the door. They're like, can I help the next person? What's your name? Who's next? What do you got? Keep it going. Step up, sir, move. Like, now they take your order, take your name. They pass it along to another barista over here, the girl that looks like Pocahontas. Then she hands it to, like, the cool black guy with the afro and the pick with the fist sticking out at the top of his head. Like, everyone's too cool.
Everyone there is the coolest person
They
I've
are
ever
the cool.
seen.
And I'm not being facetious, and I'm addicted to Starbucks. So if you want to sponsor the podcast, that'd be delightful.
What's your drink? What's your poison
Just coffee.
over there?
Venti,
Just straight coffee?
Venti black coffee. And they're like, do you want room? And I'm like, yes, but only because I'm an idiot and I'll burn myself. Like, I'm that guy. So I like the guy. You pull up to Starbucks in the parking lot and they just get the Venti and you're like, I didn't order yet. They're like, no, you were here a year ago. We remember you. It's the Starbucks at the Hyatt in Denver. Venti, get him a Venti. His name's Jay. Move it along. Come on, move it. Let me get a half decaf. Who's the asshole at Starbucks that orders a half decaf anything? Why not just get a smaller cup of actual coffee than make these people do math in their head? Let me get a half decaf, non-fat Venti latte with extra foam.
Oh, dude, there would be like drinks with 14 fucking specifications sometimes.
I was a waiter my entire life. And when old people would say, could we have a cup of decaffeinated coffee? I'd go, yeah, sure. I would just give them
fun sleeping tonight.
Yeah, I would just give them caffeine, realizing I was probably ruining their hearts. Like,
you murdered 32 fucking people at that restaurant.
I was the fucking Grim Reaper of the Friar Tuck Inn in Cedar Grove, New Jersey on Route 23. And that, their doctor was probably like, but here's the deal. Like, this is, we really know it's 85. We're not sure how pacemakers work. No coffee, because the whole wiring can go screwy. And I'm like,
you were shorting people out.
Yes. But like, when it's when you're a waiter, there's always that asshole couple that comes in 6 minutes before you close. The chef's like dressed in his street clothes. He's wearing like a fucking Randy Rhoads t-shirt.
And a fucking cigarette in his mouth.
And a Ferrari sweatpants. He's holding a vodka Collins. And you're like, hey, I got a couple. They always want frozen drinks. And they always want something well done. And they always want ice on the side and slice my lemon into little designs. And could I have decaf? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Because we threw the coffee out hours ago. I'm not making you a fucking fresh pot of decaf. So by the way, anybody in a restaurant, if you ever go to order decaf, make sure they show you the orange handle on the pot. Because if they just come back with a couple of cups of coffee, they're not giving you decaf.
Or if your grandparents had heart attacks in the mid-'80s in Jersey, Jay's sorry about that.
Yeah, I was the Jack Kevorkian of the Friar Tuck Inn. But I didn't smother them. I didn't inject them with anything. Just a simple cup of coffee. There's so many things you can kill people with around the house. Just like a 2-liter bottle of Sprite, for example. You just catch somebody across the bridge of the nose when they're sleeping.
Sure.
They're out. You're going to break their orbital bone. They're going to die of apnea like 10 minutes later. And you go, I didn't kill him. I hit him in the face with a bottle of Sprite. You just said he died of apnea.
And Sprite doesn't cause apnea, obviously.
No,
so
I smashed his face in.
We're clear here, sir.
All right, if you want to bring me in for smashing his face in with a bottle of Sprite as he slept, that's fine. But don't tell me that's COD. So I also like this guy at Starbucks. My new favorite people at Starbucks is the guy in line that says, let me get a venti latte, 120 degrees.
Oh, we had tons
wow.
of those.
120 degrees. What better way to let America know you have no power anywhere else in your life, that you are just a bottom and you take a cock in the ass from the industry day after day after day. Night after night, you go home and get browbeaten into submission by whoever's in your house. Your kids think you're a douchebag. But then when you go into Starbucks, you get to look at that Mexican kid with the green apron and go, don't fuck it up.
You're fucking
120
Charlemagne.
degrees.
Yeah.
120 degrees. Chop, chop. You know what I would
man.
do? Give it to him like 119 just to fuck with his head. 121 in your face.
Go ahead. The other great thing with Starbucks was the polar opposite of the guys who come in for 120 see, I worked at Starbucks in Burlington, Vermont, which is a very big hippie town and a very big homeless population too, where I worked at. So 90% of our customers were homeless guys who would bolt in the fucking store, run to the condiment bar, chug the entire thing a half and half before you can get around the counter to yell at them. and fucking bolt out the door.
Really?
That was all day long, with just people running in the store, chugging half and half, chugging whole milk, stealing fucking Sweet and Lows and just shoving them in their mouth and running out the back.
But isn't there also that giant display of sandwiches and like
See, that was
sweets?
we had it behind a counter, so we didn't have to worry about that. But
I
we
didn't
did
know-
have to